Welcome to Toffee TV. Listen, we know it's the summertime. It's the time for transfer rumours all over the shop. Lots of good, bad, and ugly
And
ones.
ugly, definitely ugly
Definitely
ones.
ugly ones knocking around in there, all over the place. We used to say it was all newspapers, but now the internet is
It's the worst.
It's the
Every
worst.
day on Twitter, I think it's the journalists top to do it is at 1, 5 and 7. You'll always see, try and bring a big story out, hitting that peak time for engagement and clicks.
It's horrendous. We're going to try and steer you through what we think of the. Let's be honest, we're no better. We're basically making a show out of all the transfer rumours. But you know what? We'll have a go. I'm joined by Bailey. You'll have seen him before if you're over on Patreon. He joins us quite regularly.
For football and other.
For football and other reasons. This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball's app makes it easier to find all the latest scores, stats, transfer rumours,
Boom.
and news all in the one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. So, do you find it worse when it's like when it's not a World Cup year or not a Euros year that the transfer rumours just get more
Intense.
intense and just silly?
Yeah and no, because I'm obviously from the modern generation of being brought up with smartphones and stuff. I've never been in an era where I can't escape it.
Yeah.
So no matter if there's, suppose with the Euros and the World Cup and stuff, you do get a breather period, which was nice. Obviously, I'm quite a big fan of the World Cup. You can just shut off from it for a while and everyone just switches off for it. But that's once in a blue moon. But that
That's once every 4 years.
or 2.
Well,
It's the
Euros
Euros.
is 2, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It completely depends on the state of the league that you're in. Obviously, because we're in the Premier League, there's a lot of clubs that are going to be way more engaged and involved than normal. Obviously, you're talking United, you're talking Tottenham now. They've got the stadium sorted. Potentially Chelsea, depending on whether they actually believe that they've got a transfer ban or not, which batters my head. Obviously, Manchester City, now they've lost Vincent Kompany. We're probably the least likely, if you don't know I'm a Liverpool fan, but we're
I didn't want to mention it, but he's
I'm able to admit it, but I feel like I'm a very level-headed Liverpool fan.
It's fine. It's good to have that. You know. Yeah, I won't be doing a show with you next week. But, it's good. No, it's good. It's good to have both sides of the
Coin?
park. Mental state.
But no, my point was like we obviously had a very active summer last year
Yeah.
because we had very glaring, obvious areas we needed to fortify, whereas we're pretty much there now. So from a Liverpool standpoint, it's more sort of looking at everyone else and saying sort of how you're going to catch us up in terms of like us and Manchester City.
Yeah, that's what City did last year, though, wasn't it? City did that exactly the same thing last year. What do you do? How do you build on not perfection, but it must be
ticked all the boxes, haven't you? And obviously they made one £60 million signing of Riyad Mahrez, and they just went, sweet, we'll go into the next season, and obviously played a lot. But Bernardo Silva got a lot more game time and stuff. But
and then I suppose you hit sort of doing what Spurs have done for 3 years now, where it's a case of going, well, we've got this team. Okay, it mightn't be the best. Okay, for City they are. You're not that far behind. It's about this team getting better, because this is what we sort of forget, isn't it? It's you have a team and it's good, but it can get better.
Yeah.
Players will get better if they're at the right age.
Yeah.
They will get better. You know, we've got players who will get better. You've got players will get better. You've got players who are really, really good, but they're young and they'll automatically get better. People learn their positions better. People learn from experience. There's all those things as well. But for some teams, quite a lot of teams, you still need to buy. It's funny that you're talking about that. You're that generation where you can't escape because it's on the internet. At least it's free.
true.
Like my
I had
generation,
to pay for it.
we had to pay for it. And it was all bollocks.
Yeah.
Like, you know, club call and all these team talk and all these phone lines that were just there. Premium line phone lines was just there they hooked you in through teletext. I mean, you don't even know what teletext.
I had teletext. I remember early teletext. Just press the red button on Sky.
Yeah, that's late teletext. Yeah, and you had to like sit and go on there, and if you want like the ITV ones, you get the adverts, and you'd be like straight on the phone. Everton linked with Star Striker or Everton about, and you get on there, and you would just literally you'd be had off for 5 minutes by like a story that had nothing. like they put like powder puff pieces on like the club websites, like that.
Okay.
Like, one of the,
filler.
Yeah, like one of the players, whoever, he's been on holiday and he's been telling us all about it. It's like, yeah, so you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. Oh yeah, Everton been linked with this striker, and then that'd be it. And like after 10 minutes,
You got £100 phone bill.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Sorry, mum. So at least you get it for free, but it is wild. Let's get into it then. It's got on there the hottest transfer talk. We'll see. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of clubs in flux at the moment. You've got the likes of Manchester United. You've got Barcelona, who looks like they could be getting a new manager. Never mind new players.
Yeah, I think so.
You've got Real Madrid.
Yep. Everyone's just doing the business.
You go to Italy, you've got the likes of Inter Milan because they're going to be in the Champions League next year, so Champions League, they'll be looking to buy big. You've got the emergence of Ajax, where everyone will be looking at their players. So and with having no World Cup or Euros, I think there's going to be a lot of movement.
I think so.
I think there's going to be a lot of movement.
It's that some of the teams, like you say, like United, probably the biggest one this summer, will be the ones that are so far behind where they need to be or where they consider themselves where they should be as being the most successful club in England, and they've just spent 6 years basically just regressing. They've got 6 years of problems to fix in a manager that's, they've only recently employed, and it'll be really telling to see where they go with it. But again, it's like Real Madrid. Like I've seen that, they're planning on earning like €300 million worth of outgoings from selling some of their players, and it's like Real Madrid don't do that. Real Madrid are a buying club, not a selling club. And
that's the other thing about it, isn't it? That's the flip side of this. Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, because of FFP, they'll be selling big. So all those players, that creates that market in the next tier down, which we are part of. Everton are part of that. Is that then suddenly you go, you know what? We could get that player who you never have. Someone like Gareth Bale, who's getting touted around Europe, could end up playing for a second tier team in Europe. I mean, I read a piece this morning saying he's quite happy to sit on his contract
and play golf
because they owe him something like 105 million. He's like, you pay me or I stay, I'll play golf, like you said then. So, but he could definitely go down to a second tier team. There's a lot of quality players at Barcelona. There's a lot of quality players at Real Madrid. There's a lot of players at Manchester United who could fill those second tiers. So suddenly they all get an improvement. So I just think this could be huge.
I think it could be one of the biggest windows we've seen.
Yeah.
For a while, and one of the biggest names, obviously, that comes out of that, hottest prospect at the minute in terms of centre back is Matthijs de Ligt.
Yeah.
Who, of course, Ajax captain, has come out and has been a fantastic had a fantastic season with them. Obviously, really unlucky in the Champions League against Spurs. He just looks like he's 19 years old, and he already looks like he's going to be the next best centre half for 10 years to come. Obviously, because he's got so much talent and promise. And obviously, he come out in interviews and said, I don't know what about my future. I'm going to go away and play the League Cup, the Nations League, and just take 2 weeks off to think about it. But the two biggest teams in for him are Barcelona. Obviously, were the original. They've got a huge link with Dutch players, especially, the guy's name always slips my mind. He's the most famous Dutch player.
Johan Cruyff.
There you go. And I'm sorry. I genuinely feel so
Well, no, because there is a natural link between Ajax and Barcelona because of Cruyff and they all go there. And I thought the league was nailed on for Barca. Although, to be fair, at first, I thought he was just nailed on to stay at Ajax. I didn't think he was going to leave because I didn't think Ajax would be looking to sell that many people. They've already let De Jong go to Barcelona. There's talk of players like Neres leaving.
Ziyech.
So 2 or 3, I thought. I thought being 19, he would say, you know what, I'm the captain of the club. Ajax through and through. I'll give these another year or maybe another 2 years. And help keep this together for another couple of years and see where we could go. You've only just won the Dutch Championship, which you haven't won for a while. I think this is the first time in 4 years they've won it. So I thought he'd want to build on top of that. But Barca and United, and it's been very strong for United in the last couple of days. And obviously we've had all the social media sort of games being played. So things like he's followed a lot of Man United players on Instagram. Suddenly means
classic,
he's signing.
yeah.
But that is classic though, isn't it? That's the things that people now look for. You know, we're in a generation of people. I remember when we signed Romelu Lukaku, and I remember that day people were following the plane. They'd found the plane. They'd took an educated guess and said, right, he must be on this plane, and therefore it's flying to Liverpool. And it's one of them where if you get it right, you're spot on.
Happened with Van Dijk.
Yeah, but if you get it wrong, you're just literally following someone. And we've had, I think, there was a Liverpool one last summer, wasn't it? Where everyone's seen a plane and they were following it, and it meant it was nothing.
We had that with Nabil Fekir.
Yeah.
Who obviously it turned out that it was, he did come to Liverpool, he did have a medical, but obviously it fell through at the final hour because of his knee. But it is mad, like that stuff. And I was in your camp. I thought, you know, he's come out and said he loves Ajax. Ajax is the only club that he loves. It's his boyhood club, and I agree. I think if he is this guy that really does love that club, why not stay a while? But then equally, I feel like Ajax is going to have exactly what happened to them, like what happened to Monaco. You know, where that whole heart of that team got ripped. You know, with Fabinho and Mbappe and the likes of those, and they just fell away. So I think this is De Ligt looking at it and being, this is probably my window to go. Obviously, with Frankie de Jong going as well, going to Barcelona to play with him as well. It was all go for Barcelona, and then in the last couple of days, it's come out that De Ligt's agent has said Barcelona aren't meeting the demands. I think Barcelona were going to pay him about £150,000 a week, and United came in and said, we'll pay you £250,000 a week. Doing what? To be fair, is United's only real bargaining power anymore, isn't it? Is that they can pay big wages.
Yeah.
And it's then put Barcelona in a really hard position because they have a wage structure, and like United, they haven't done what they've done with Sanchez. They have to keep all the players happy. I think it's only Messi and Suarez that are on over 150 grand a week. So to bring a guy in who's 19 to play centre half and you completely mess up the status quo, I think it's put a sort of a stick between this transfer at the minute, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next 2 weeks.
And Barcelona need more players as well. They need more players. They need another centre forward. You know, Suarez is not getting any younger, and they will have to deal with FFP. They're not a club that they don't have a rich benefactor. They're a membership club. They get they get all their money through sponsorships and the merchandise they sell and those kind of things. So, and obviously the ground, the capacity of the ground. That's going to be a really interesting one, I think. Like you said, Manchester United will throw all the money at him, but it's whether he feels what his legacy is. But it's that window of opportunity as well. Does he think that this might be his only window? But
well, it's going to be very telling, because I think if he goes to United, it will be very clear that money's a big factor for him. And of course, at 19, if someone throws 250, 300 grand a week at you, you'll be like, how can you turn that down? Then equally, if he's looking as a guy who's looks like he's got his head screwed on, really cares about football and his own personal progression as a footballer, you'd think that, and think, why wouldn't you go to Barcelona and play next to, you know, Piqué, who's been one of the best centre backs for the last 10 years with Messi? And for me, how do you see it panning out? Would you see more likely to Barca, or can you think United could tempt him?
I think the problem with Barca is they've got a lot of plates to spin at the moment. The manager is another issue. I don't think that necessarily matters for the player, but I just think with a lot of plates to spin, that could allow Man United to nip in and just grab him. If I was him, I don't think he'll make a decision till, like you just said, he's got the Nations Cup thing. Then he'll have a few weeks off, and then maybe he'll take his time. So, and
that's the problem there, I think, as well, is that I think Manchester United are notoriously known for being a club that get their business done before they go away on pre-season.
Yeah.
And I think they go away July, same as Liverpool. So that's 5 weeks to get this done. Obviously, they've got other things lined up, with like Daniel James potentially coming in. Obviously, I think his father passed away, so that got delayed for a while. But they're going to have to, I think Solskjaer said he wants 6 or 7 signings done. And to do that in the space of 5 weeks, especially such high-profile signings as De Ligt, time's not on their side, but that's going to be I think the sign of the summer, whoever gets De Ligt, personally. But staying at United, Pogba and De Gea, in the state of affairs that Manchester United are in, that's probably their 2 biggest assets at the minute. I think Pogba's still got 3 years left on his contract. De Gea's in his last year, has refused to sign a new contract. Do you think this is the time that De Gea and Pogba jump ship?
I'd sell Pogba.
You would?
I'd sell him because I just think he's an awful influence.
Okay.
I'd sell Pogba, I'd sell Lukaku.
Yep.
Definitely. I've said, listen, I remember doing a video on Ball Street with Stephen Howson, about Lukaku.
When he was still at Everton?
When he was signing for Man United.
Okay.
And I said to him, he'll be a fantastic goal scorer, but he'll be a knobhead. He'll turn out a knobhead. And I got laughed at, because...
It is Howson interviewing you, to be fair.
No, but it's not that. It's the arrogance of thinking just because a player's signing for a bigger club, that somehow his attitude will change. And his attitude hasn't changed whatsoever. Yeah. In fact, it might have even been more inflated because he's at a big club. And I don't think he helps, and I don't think Pogba helps. And I think Lukaku going to Inter Milan could be a really good fit with Conte.
I think that looks very likely at the minute.
But Pogba, I think this is a really interesting one, because where would he go? Do you think he would go to Barcelona as well?
Real Madrid, personally. I think it came out today that they valued him at £138 million, and obviously it came out that we apparently did that with Sadio Mane. We said I think we valued him at £200 million, I think. That we said if you to put off the likes of Zidane.
Yeah, this is the value to you. Not
Yeah,
the value
exactly.
To them.
And then that was what we said to Real Madrid, because Zidane's come out in the past and said he really likes Sadio Mane, and we said, well, £200 million, and they were like, whoa, no chance. So this is either them saying this is your price, pay it, because I think if it's to be believed that Real Madrid are going to be shipping £300 million worth of talent away, who are they replacing it with? And I think Pogba would probably be the first name on Zidane's team sheet, if I'm honest. And I think that I know a lot of United fans that really want to keep him, strangely. And I can't get my head around it either. He does seem like a toxic influence. He seems like Lukaku's gone there and had the influence of Pogba on him, and it's really not worked to his favour as a guy who worked really hard for Everton, from what I saw. And again, it plays into this window of opportunity they've got. They've got 5 weeks realistically to get business done. Obviously, they've got, if it's to be believed that they don't do business when they're away on pre-season. If you're going to sell a guy who's so important to your team, you need time to get people in, and it's whether they're factoring these big signings like De Ligt and like Bruno Fernandes that they've been linked with into the equation, and maybe they've already decided that he's going. But it's a strange. Pogba's a strange one for me. I personally think he's going to stay, if I'm honest.
I could see him staying because he's so influential, and because financially to them, he's so important.
It's just a big marketing package, isn't he?
He's just a big Adidas poster, isn't he? At the end of
literally.
the day, we've seen that when he signed. But I think if the manager really wants to stamp his authority on the dressing room, he gets rid of him. I think that would be a huge statement. I think Pogba would fit in really well at Real Madrid. Obviously, having Zidane as his coach would
aid him.
Yeah, I think he would just
French icon.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this with Benzema. Benzema calls Zidane his big brother, and they've never had a problem. They understand each other, and I think Zidane would understand Pogba. Pogba, I don't think is a bad kid as such. I don't think
he's more of a victim of his own success, isn't he?
Yeah, he just gets caught up in stuff, and I think it hasn't helped this football that he doesn't know how to just get his head down and just get on with games of football at times.
He does. He's become such a personality, like you say. He's become such an icon for marketing and for advertisement. He's become bigger than himself.
Yeah.
I think going to someone like Zidane, where as a French player, you've got to look at Zidane as one of, if not the best player that's ever played for your nation, and that's probably what Pogba needs. He needs a guy. He didn't get on with Mourinho whatsoever. If he didn't get on with Mourinho, is he really going to listen to Solskjaer, a guy who's not really proven at all as a manager? To go to a guy who's won two Champions League, I don't know if it's 2 or 3. I think it's 2. His Champions Leagues he's won, and then he's literally the icon of your nation. You can't really argue with him, because Zidane will just be like, well, I'm 4 or 5 times a player you ever were. So I think that Pogba does need a reality check, and I think Solskjaer, to be honest, I think what Solskjaer needs is to bring players in who are like him, who like Daniel James, who are young, up and coming, need time to adjust the same way Solskjaer does, but will work for the badge.
Yeah.
And to get rid of, like you say, Sanchez, Lukaku, Pogba, these players who think they're bigger than United, get a good wedge for them and reinforce them with players who are talented, but also players that will work hard. That's, I think, how Solskjaer's going to play it.
Look at City. Look at the way they've done business. Look at the players they've got. No, for all the players they've got, there's no one in that squad that I can see that feels like they're more important than the football club. There's no like big time Charlies or anything. They're all down to earth kids, and anyone who does, anyone does have a problem will get dispatched, and we'll talk about one of them a little bit later. But Pogba, I could see going. De Gea, with having a year left on his contract, if he definitely turns around and says, "I'm not staying," that'll be an interesting one to see what they do, because is his worth on the pitch more important to his worth at the end of the season if they get nothing for him? That's something you've got to balance out. Arsene Wenger used to look at that and say, well, I'd rather have a player for a season and get what I get from them and let them go for nothing than get 60 million or whatever for them, which is basically nothing in terms of
what talent he provides.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I don't know with De Gea.
It's
I still
hard
think
one,
Real Madrid would have him though. I still think Real Madrid would get him if they want him. Paris Saint-Germain would be another one who'd want him as well.
I think PSG is probably the most likely place, because obviously Real Madrid have recently signed Courtois.
I'm not really convinced by that at all though. I still think that they'd get rid of Courtois.
You think?
I can see Courtois ending up at Man United. I really could.
That'd be mental. Yeah,
I really could. I don't think he likes him. I don't think he likes him as a goalkeeper. I don't think he's settled. I don't think they ever wanted him. They always wanted De Gea. And he was just like, they had to get a goalkeeper in.
Interesting point,
I just don't think he's ever settled. And the earlier you can get a player out, the better. Like, you know,
well, that's it. It's you make a good case there, because obviously the big question is, if you're selling De Gea, top 2, top 3 best goalkeepers in world football, on his day he's the best, but who do you replace him with? I've seen names thrown around of just sort of guys that you train up to be to his level, and it's like you can't replace a guy that's, I think the season that they finished second, he saved them something like 17 points. Like he makes such a difference in goal.
Key. We've seen Oblak signed a new contract at
Atletico,
and they're in the process of having a big
overhaul
as well. So I can't see him no matter what. Honestly, I can see Courtois making a move and just. I just think some clubs just don't care. They just chain players.
Real Madrid is definitely one of them.
We're a league where we're very obviously. Listen, all football clubs have an identity and there's a tribalism, but in terms of players, we're a lot worse than other countries. Like, you know, in Italy, top players always end up playing for all of the top clubs. Doesn't happen as much here. It's happened a little bit more in the last few years. In Spain, players could play for Real Madrid and Barcelona, and okay, there's a stigma, but as long as one doesn't go to the other, there's never really a hatred. And I think I could see Courtois easily coming back to the Premier League and playing for Manchester United. I don't think that'd be an issue.
And I think De Gea could very easily go to PSG. Obviously, with Buffon's obviously aging big time. I think he could go.
Let's just stick with Real Madrid for a minute.
Okay.
So Sergio Ramos has come out and basically said he wants a free transfer so he can go to China. I just think that's hilarious. Last year he was the absolute darling he is the darling of Real Madrid, you know, captain. And this year again, I just wonder, is it that thing of he knows his time is up, he knows there's a big overhaul coming, so he's like, nah, I just want to go now. I know he's not Liverpool fans' favourite player in the world, but that would seem such a weird ending to what has been such an amazing career at Real Madrid.
He's arguably, I think personally, Sergio Ramos is the best centre-back I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm only 21, so he moved from Sevilla 2005, I believe. So from the age of 7 onwards, Ramos has been in the conversation as the best centre-half in world football. So it's mad that he's only 34 as well. Obviously, 34 is quite old for a centre-half, but to think how long he's been at the top level. It did come as a surprise to me, and I think you're right. I think it's the case that Zidane's come in and he's like, none of you are safe. Not one of you are safe. And just especially showing that his disparity that he's got with Bale, and I think there's that core of that midfield. You know, there's like your Modric, he's going to keep him. Did they just sign? Who's the guy Luka Jovic, I believe?
Yeah, the Jovic from Stuttgart.
Yeah,
centre forward. Really,
really hot prospect. Yeah. So he's starting this build already. Yeah. So I don't know, because I don't know if it'd be almost like the Cheek's way out. Obviously, if he went to China, he'd get stupid amounts of money, and whether he's asked about that. But Ramos to me, has always seemed like a guy who's would die for the cause. Obviously, like I say, as much as it pisses me off that what happened in the Champions League last year, he's just a shithouse. That's just who he is. We loved Luis Suarez for that. He's got an elite mentality, and he'll do anything it takes to win. And I applaud him for that. So I don't really hold too much against Sergio Ramos. But to go to China, like, he's got Man United written all over him. You know, if they can't get Delit, it's like quick fix. That's what we do. Like, same as Sanchez, we will get a guy in that fills a hole. Same as Ibrahimovic for a season or two, and then we'll deal with it when the problem arises. But yeah, strange one. It came out of the blue.
It just shows you though that the power that Zidane has earned by going back. He obviously felt this time last year that he didn't have that power, and then he knew that there was going to be a massive rebuilding job. But knew that if he at that
smart
point,
man.
If he obviously knew at that point that he couldn't go in to see the chairman and say, right, I want all this money. And I want to get rid of like these as well.
Yeah.
Like the president's come out and said he loves Gareth Bale. He would love Ramos. Yeah. He will obviously love all these different players. Whereas Zidane's like, no, we need to move this on now. In fact, we're probably a year behind, and the Champions League is covering up the cracks.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting now that he's come back and gone, right, I do have the power. And I think he's probably got the power to say, you know, I can still walk out anytime I want to as well. You can hold that over the manager. You could say, you want this to happen, I can walk out. If you don't want this to happen, I can walk out at any time.
Yeah.
And you've got to put up then the drama of trying to bring all these people in and bring a new manager in.
Zidane's just a very good manager. Like I say, he's got the right mix. You've seen, you know, the likes of Frank Lampard at Derby, the likes of Steven Gerrard at Rangers, two like big iconic footballers taking on teams, and whilst they've all done well respectively, to take Real Madrid to 2 Champions League finals and win them both, huge credit to him. Of course, he had Ronaldo, but I think he's incredibly smart in the way he's handled it. I think he saw Ronaldo was going, and he was like, like you say, you're not giving me what I want. So he left. It all capitulated more. They went through 2 managers, and they were basically on their knees to bring him back because of what he gave them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That's going
to be really interesting. That's another narrative to follow. Let's leave the managers till the bottom.
Okay. This is interesting for me.
This is an interesting one, yeah, again, for Evertonians. So West Ham apparently have had a £18 million bid rejected for Andre Gomez. A lot of the talk for Andre Gomez towards the end of the season was Spurs.
Okay.
A lot of Evertonians getting a little bit worried about it. Baz, thinks he'll stay at Everton.
Okay.
He's not, not adamant. He hasn't, necessarily.
No, it's just if he had money on it.
He just thinks that he'll stay at Everton.
That's fair.
I am a little bit more open-minded in terms of I probably see everything the glass half empty rather than half full, and I'd look at it and go, you know what? He's a footballer. He can do whatever he wants. He's on loan at Everton. He owes Everton nothing. But you put all the other factors into it of him moving from Valencia to Barcelona. He didn't have a good time at Barcelona. He admitted he had mental health issues at Barcelona. He came to Everton and suddenly he seemed to find peace of mind, happy.
Found himself.
Seems happy, found himself. Got involved massively with the Everton community. Did a lot of things like he did like a hug-a-thon where people paid the tenner and he just give them all a hug.
He's a gorgeous man.
Fucking hell, man. Let's be honest. He's tremendous. We all would.
Tenner's cheap.
So, Tottenham, you looked at it, and from my point of view, I looked at Tottenham and thinking, well, Tottenham are like a club like Everton. All right, they're doing brilliantly well. They're in the Champions League final. They've got a new stadium. But from a point of view, they still feel like a very grounded football club. Yeah. Like they don't buy massive players. They haven't bought anyone for a while.
Lucas Moura was the last one, wasn't
Lucas Moura in. They buy players that help them. They keep the squad tight. And for me, if he had a sit down, let's say, or his agent had a sit down with Pochettino, and Pochettino would said to him, listen, this is what I want from you, I would look at it and say, that would probably be enough to convince Andre Gomez to go there.
Okay.
He's been at Everton for a year, but that's not, again, that's like, because he's on loan, it wouldn't be his house, it'll all be temporary. You could easily just say, you've played in the Premier League, do you want to come and play for Tottenham? There's no you're not going to be this big luxury signing where we've go over the top about you. You're going to be part of the squad. You're going to play a lot of games because Tottenham are going to be involved in all the competitions. I could see that, him being all over that. Then this rumour comes out, or this story comes out over the weekend that West Ham are suddenly battling for him. And like good like publications like the Times saying, oh, they're now favourites to sign him. It's just like, what? What?
Yeah.
West Ham? Are you on crack? Really, West Ham? You're writing this and you think this is real?
Did you? Because I've seen obviously a handful of Gomez, obviously in both the derbies. Did he play in the Everton derby at Goodison? You know, he definitely played at Anfield.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I remember at Anfield he was really good, and he looks from what I've seen. We had Sarah in, obviously comes in every now and then. She was on our Around the League show yesterday, and she was talking about how does so much for the community. He's constantly posting like, "I love this city," or by the Merseyside, or by the Liver buildings and stuff. He seems like he's really invested himself in the city. He seems like a really nice bloke and a good footballer, but it's the loudest beep I've ever heard. But what's his level? Because is it? Because say if you take him, West Ham are here, Everton are here, and Spurs are here.
Yeah.
Is he? Can he go up to Spurs?
I think he's good enough to play for Spurs. I think he's good enough to play for. I think he needs more consistency.
Okay.
I think if fitness needs to be managed more, I think he needs a pre-season. He didn't have a pre-season last season. I think he's definitely capable of being part of a Spurs squad.
Okay.
Definitely. Now, how many games he plays and what games he plays in, that might be a different thing. But I've seen him play against some of the top midfield this year and play really well. But I've also seen him go missing in games.
Okay.
And be very, very poor. I think when he plays poorly, he is poor.
Okay.
But I think a lot of that comes down to his physical state. And when I say physical state, I just mean how tired he is. You know, literally sapped of energy. You can see it on the pitch.
Okay.
A lot of his game relies on his strength, not to be knocked off the ball, and to get himself a yard, and then to start moving the ball. So I could definitely see him playing for Spurs. Definitely.
Okay.
I think West Ham, I can understand why they would have gone for him.
Yeah, makes sense.
£18 million. They've gone. If they have gone in for a bid, I can understand that as well.
I've seen in the same article that this came from is that Barcelona want around the £25 million mark.
Yeah.
Would you be willing? Would you pay that?
I'd pay that for him.
You would.
This is a guy I think his buyout clause is about 75 million.
Wow.
So that's not going to get. They've said they want 18 would be the bottom run of the ladder basically. They know the more teams involved for him, the better. I think Everton are confident of signing him, and they're not willing to get into a silly war for him. So we had this last summer with Yerry Mina. So we got linked with him quite early after the World Cup, and at the time I was just like, that's a bit of a weird one. We went. Beginning of August, you can actually, if you go online and you look at Yerry Mina Man United, there's articles that say Yerry Mina will sign for Man United this weekend. You know,
right.
It's the beginning of August.
Right.
Nailed on, signing for Man United, and then it didn't happen. And then you get to the last day of the transfer window. We sign Yerry Mina, and Yerry Mina comes out and says, "I was never signing for anyone else. I was told in the World Cup Everton wanted me, and I was never going anywhere else." Now, of course, people say that, but Marcel Brands comes out, you know, our director of football, and says, you know, we were playing our game. We weren't playing Barcelona's game. Barcelona's game was wait and wait and wait and wait and wait.
See who comes in.
See who's coming in, and in the end, no one else came in, and we got him for like 28 million. All right, well, whether he's worth it or not, we'll wait and see. That's by the by. So. With this, I think something similar is going to happen. I think Barcelona are going to try and play the game, because this is what they're very good at, is getting trading off on people, putting out stories and stuff. So I think West Ham will be linked with so many players this summer, and the reason they will be linked with is because they're always in the market and they've got money to spend. And if you're trying to sell a player and you want his value to go up, get West Ham linked to them. There was one of the things that came out. Sadly, from the kid who died in the plane,
Emiliano Sala.
One of the things that came out about that was there was a story about the guy who got him to Cardiff, the agent who wasn't even his agent, and basically said, was it Willie Mackay? Was it, I think, who basically said, "Look how I can get you a move to the Premier League. Watch how I can get a move for you." And he said that he basically put stories in papers linking him with clubs like Everton. And he actually mentioned Everton because he said, I know that they want a centre forward. So therefore, if I get you linked with them, the interest that is actually out there will have to come to the surface. And it basically happens. So you get Everton and West Ham will always be linked with players because people know we are always in the market for players because we're always trying to get better and we've got a little bit of money. That'll happen everywhere. You know, if Newcastle get this money, God forbid.
Yeah, I saw that stuff was weird.
I know.
I saw Baz was kicking off on Twitter.
God forbid if they get the money, because the market will just explode. If Newcastle get money, the market will explode. So it'll be interesting to see West Ham. I'm confident that Andre Gomez would choose Everton over West Ham, because if he didn't, that would honestly be the biggest kick in the bollocks I think ever. If he chose West Ham over Everton, but Everton,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Everton are playing it quite. They're playing the game they've seem to be playing now, where they
very
don't.
Hush.
They're very quiet. We know who we want. We have said we want Gomez, but I think we're also willing to go another way if we have to. Like if the deal doesn't suit us, I think now, and it's not even a money thing. It's just it's not being
a pride thing, isn't it?
It's not.
It's taking the piss out of.
It's just not being messed around in when you're going in for someone. You go in for someone and you say, "Is the money I'm willing to offer you?" If they say no, then you go, "Fine, we'll go and buy someone else." And let's see whether all of this other stuff is still there.
Yeah, because that to bring it back to like the De Ligt stuff. I think United probably are interested in him, but United are the club to link players to when you're trying to get a better deal. So, his agent, De Ligt could be like, I only want to go to Barcelona, and his agent could be like, which is Riola, I think. This is the same guy who's the agent of Pogba and stuff. Like he's going right. All right, we'll go to Barcelona, but you're not taking this deal because I can get myself and you 20 times better. So they'll go to Madrid, they'll go to Man United and go, fancy him? And they'll be like, yeah, how much do you want for him? And they'll be like, £350,000 a week. And they're like, cool. And then they'll go to Barcelona, ball's in your court now. And then you've done very little work. You've fabricated a story. You know yourself he's never going to go there, but you're holding all the cards, forcing Barcelona to up their offer. So, yeah, Gomez seems like definitely Everton or above level. I couldn't see him dropping down to a West Ham level.
But you've definitely got to be prepared to call someone's bluff.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. And the only way you can do that, though, is if you've got good scouting in place where you can turn around and say, well, we can sign him if you want for 25 million. You get a good deal, we get a good deal.
Yeah.
Or we can go and sign this other kid that actually we think's great as well.
Yeah.
And
so skin off our back.
So it's up to what you want to do. And I think that's what he did last year with Yerry Mina. The fact that it went down to the last day of the season, Barcelona might have felt like they had all the cards in the transfer window saying, well, you're going to have to buy him because you'll have no one. And Everton were like, but you'll have a player that you don't want on your club.
Yeah.
So what you want to do? And in the end, they got the deal done. And it was Everton at the same time were negotiating to bring Kurt Zouma in.
Yeah.
And they were also negotiating to bring Rocco in from Man United at the same time.
Yeah.
So, they could turn around and go, well, we're getting deals done.
Yeah.
If this falls through, we're bringing two lads on loan. It's no skin off our nose. What you want to do? So Everton called the bluff and got the deal they wanted.
Okay.
And the problem with this one is though, this is the beginning of the summer. You've got the whole summer of this now.
Yeah, to drag out.
To drag out. I hope it doesn't, because all that does is cause worry amongst fans. So certainly our fan base. We need, I think, to get Andre Gomez in to say to fans, see, these are the deals we can do now. Okay. We can bring players in. See, if we lost out on Andre Gomez, our fans would naturally just go, we've got no money or we can't get deals done. And I think, for me, that's a statement signing, saying, see, we brought him in on loan, we wanted him, we went to Barcelona, we got the deal done. Forget about all these clubs that you've heard about. He only wanted to sign for us. Now, if the player turns around and says, I want Champions League football, that's different. That's understandable. We'll have to wait and see on that one. This one's interesting, but I don't think it's a surprise. Sane to Bayern Munich.
Doesn't surprise you, really?
It doesn't surprise
that was a massive shock to me.
One of the reasons why... one of the reasons I think Pep hasn't been playing him is because he knows he wouldn't sign a contract. And I think Pep Guardiola has been completely firm on that. And I think Pochettino does it at Tottenham as well. If you don't sign a contract, then you are out the team and you are leaving the club on the
Yeah,
club.
we did that with Emre Can.
Yeah, on the club's terms though, and it's not about you as a player. And this is what more clubs need to start doing: is standing up to players and saying, if you don't sign a contract, then you do not play for this club. Inter Milan did it with what's the kid up front called? Icardi.
Okay.
Their captain, their best player. He didn't sign a contract, and they just said, "You're out the team when we strip you of your captaincy." I think they brought him into the team, but no captain. Like, hang on, it's the biggest honour we've got at the club, being captain. You're not getting it. You don't play for us.
Yeah.
You won't sign a contract. So I would not be surprised if signing goes to Barcelona, to Bayern Munich, because simply if he's refused to sign a contract because he wants to play all the time or whatever, then
tough shit.
City are just going to replace you.
But that's my point. Who do you replace him with?
Well, that is a tough one. But then that's where the club have to stand firm and say, well, you know what, we can replace you.
Yeah, and I agree. But my point is, Leroy Sané to me is one of the top 10 best left wingers in world football at the minute. And it's like, if you go through the list of other wingers in his position, some won't leave Spurs, I don't think. Mane won't leave Liverpool. Hazard, I think, will leave, but to Madrid. I don't think he'll stay in the Premier League. Then you're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who's probably too old and would happy at Juventus. Neymar obviously came out today that he wants £1.2 million a week to go and play for Real Madrid, and that's probably not going to happen. So what I've seen is that they're really interested in João Felix from Benfica as their replacement guy, and it's like, well, he's 19, could even be younger than that. Right. He's worth £70 million, and his numbers are brilliant, but for Benfica. Whereas you've got a guy here who's, I think Leroy Sané is 24, I said 20 and 24. I think he's still very young. Who's proven in the Premier League, Germany's first choice left winger, and you're going to let him go. And that it's not that the City can't replace him, because they can. They've got the money and they've got the pulling power and the manager to buy anybody. But who's on the market to fill Leroy Sané's shoes?
Isn't it? But that's where I don't think you can get bogged down in it. You've got to, of course, you've got to say to the player, we value it this much, and your value will go up by if there is an alternative. But if they look at the player and say, we have a plan for you, we think your progression will be this, so that in a year or in 2 years you will be the first choice player.
Yeah.
If that's what they've decided for the player either trusts them or he doesn't, and if he doesn't, then he won't sign a contract, then he'll leave. I think going to Bayern Munich is just an easy option.
It makes complete sense. You know, he's German. I assumed he would be a fan of a German club growing up, probably Bayern Munich, with how big they were. They have been for the last 30 years. But
what was he? Was he a Schalke boy though?
Yes, he was, but it's
I don't think it's going to matter.
Biggest club in Germany. But it's that the interesting thing for me is if Bayern Munich do this, they've already spent 125 million euros on 2 signings already. Sané would fetch upwards of £80 million probably. Yeah. That's £200 million you've spent as Bayern Munich. What happens to Timo Werner, the guy that was supposed to be nailed on to come to you? And it's a win-win for us, because I'd love Sané to be out of the Premier League, because even if they replace him with a guy who's shit hot, you still need a season or two to bed in. Like Bernardo Silva was one of the best midfielders this season, but it took him a season to get in, to settle. So it set City back, obviously losing company at the same time. So it's great news for us. But when I first saw it, I was like, I get your point completely now, because it is about determining sort of who's the boss, and it is Pep Guardiola in the club. But I was like, Jesus, that seems like a risk.
I think he's had problems with them all season. I think you could tell by Sané's body language that he doesn't. There's been so many games that have been calling out for Sané and he hasn't brought him on. I think all season he's had a problem with him. There's just been it must be over a contract, and that because I think for some managers, they look at someone signing a contract. I don't think they bat an eye. They say that's between you and them upstairs.
Yeah.
But I think for someone like Pep Guardiola, signing a contract is a sign of disrespect. Same with Pochettino. It's the sign that you don't believe in what we're doing. Yeah. You're putting what you do over what we do. And we spoke about it earlier with Man City. Yeah. Man City don't seem to have any internal problems. It's all kept in house. Look at Company. I know it's not a problem, but Company's on TV one day and he's been asked about his contract, going, "Oh, we'll have to wait and see." The next day, he's the player manager of Anderlecht, and also the player manager, and gets called into the national team. Has that ever happened? Well, it probably hasn't, like Iceland or something. But that was kept so quiet and so in house, because people respect each other at that club and don't go outside. with Sane, I think, I'm not saying he's gone outside, but by simply not signing a contract, I think that's seen as a sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic because that gives the power back to the club.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's something that is a necessity that has to be established to be a top 6 club, and that's why United have fallen so far, because they just haven't. They've had a merry-go-round of managers that can't establish dominance in the dressing room, and I think that's what happened with Coutinho with us. Klopp famously said to him, stay here and we'll build statues of you and we'll sing your name forever because of how important you are to us. Leave and you'll be a nobody. And it's taken a year and Barca already want to sell him.
Lukaku, it's the same with us. I mean, I'm not necessarily great in the same situations, but Lukaku's the same.
We both had star men that were using us as stepping stones.
And listen, I understand why players want to play for bigger clubs. I have no problem with that. You could say the same about John Stones. John Stones has gone to Manchester City, but he has won all the trophies. Yeah. Right? He's not necessarily playing now, but he will play more, especially with company leaving. Yeah. So it works for some, but for some players, the club will come to an arrangement with the players. Like we had Lukaku, and I think we basically said to him, give us another year, and then we'll see where we are. And if we're still in the same position, we don't mind. And I think that's what happened with Lukaku. I think that's with the position. But for some players, you've got to just take the stance and say, if you're not willing to buy into what we're trying to do here, then go somewhere else, and we'll bring someone in who will. Yeah. And that's maybe, again, that's something I think that's one of the great things that happens at Man United with Sir Alex Ferguson is he could do that. He got those players, and when they stopped buying into it or got a little bit ahead of themselves, he just went, on your way, mate. I mean, it happened to the best, happened to Beckham, happened to Jaap Stam. I remember when like Hughes, Kanchelskis and Insall went one summer, and everyone was like, what the hell are they doing? They're throwing it all away. But he was always one step ahead. Wenger had it slightly, but he had it slightly different where he always knew the value of a player. So I remember when he sold Vieira to Juventus, and everyone was losing their minds, going, what the hell are you doing? He's in his peak, and he's like, he's in his peak for one more year, and then we get nothing for him. Whereas this summer, I get 16 million for him, which was huge then. Yeah. And I can go and bring in my replacement now with having players in the squad. It didn't ultimately work out because he never bought it. But he had the foresight to look at it and say, I need to shift him now because he's still got some value in him. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing that I think. And if Sane leaves, it's bad for the Premier League, but ultimately Man
good
City.
For Liverpool.
Might be good for Man City though. It might be. It's good. You can sit there and say it's good for Liverpool, but if Man City.
Mate, this is the core. I know it would be, but I've been crying out for Hazard to leave the Premier League for 3 years because he's just that good. Yeah. Because it would benefit everybody else because he's just he's a player that's wonderful, and to not have to play him every time we play Chelsea, no matter who you're.
I agree. So that's all the players. Let's talk about very quick about the managers. So Allegri has left
Juventus.
He said it was they got rid of him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, there was a lot of rumours last week about Pep Guardiola going to Juventus. They've been dismissed now, but a lot of people...
They met.
Apparently. Now, do you think that they sacked Allegri thinking they were going to get Pep?
Yeah. I think that they had very fair right to assume that, because I think, Pep's been here for 3 years now at City, won basically everything there is to win apart from a Champions League with them. He's under an FFP investigation. He could face a year out of the Champions League. And we actually spoke to a couple of City fans on the around the league. And City's main goal is to actually catch up with United in terms of domestic titles. And even if it takes them 50 years, they say they'd rather do that than win the Champions League, which is easy to say when you haven't won it. But it's hard to get your head around. But they...
Oh, no, I can understand that.
Yeah, as a thing. But they... I think that Guardiola, to be honest, won't be there for more than 2 more seasons anyway. I think that he's a guy that likes to move on and he likes to build teams within a club that's actually got the funding to let him do what he wants. And I think what more can he do with City if he can't win the Champions League with them? Juventus is probably the next biggest thing that he can move on to. So he's done Barca, he's done Bayern, he's now done City. Juventus look like the next stop in the road that he's trying to take.
Yeah, be interesting if he did that, But I don't know who they're going to bring in.
Apparently, it's Maurizio Sarri.
He's top of their list, isn't he?
Which is a strange one. So that's an interesting one. So I've seen... so say Sarri goes. Do you think that there's a chance that Frank Lampard goes to Chelsea?
Lampard will go to Chelsea.
You think?
Because I think he understands the structure of the club, understands that he'd have a director of football above him or whatever they.
I think it's Petr Cech. It's going to go back and be the director of football.
So that's the structure there, isn't it? There's the structure straight away. They're basically saying what the structure is going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you've got one ex-player with another ex-player who work together, and we
quite exciting.
We've got it. Liverpool have got it in different ways. Ours is an ex-player. He's not one of our ex-players, but he is an ex-player. He understands the game. A lot of clubs are doing this now. In fact, it's just mad that Man United aren't doing it. I still can't get my head around the fact that they haven't done it yet. I know they are looking at it, bringing in a director of football.
Oh, sorry.
So I know. So I just can't get my head around the fact that they haven't done it yet. But that's what most clubs are moving to now. So I could see Sarri going there. I could see Lampard coming in with Petr Cech.
Do you think that could work? Is that because that's Chelsea's problem for the last?
I think
forever has been that they go through cycles too quickly.
But don't you think though, if they brought Lampard in, the fans would be willing to give him that little bit of extra time?
Exactly.
He's done a good job at Derby. I know he never got promoted, but he did.
I really like Frank Lampard.
He talks. The way he talks, people listen. I think he's very. When he talks about football, he's.
Well, you can't do what Frank Lampard's. You can't have the career Frank Lampard's had and not demand respect, especially at the club you were a legend for.
He's very considered in what he says. He doesn't get angry all the time. When he does, he's angry.
So he's like a professional guy, but I think that works best for all parties. I think that Sarri gets to go back to Italy. I think he was a bit out of his depth.
But by going to somewhere that wants him, it is a really good escape for him, because it's not like you're just sacked and then you're out the game and everyone looks at you as a failure. If he leaves, Conte though is the biggest one. I know he's going to Inter Milan, but when he left them, he had nowhere to go, and so therefore he's been sacked. Whereas Sarri leaves though to go to Juventus, everyone comes out of it looking okay.
Yeah,
and I think that's a respect thing as well, especially if they win. Especially if they win the Europa League.
Yeah, a good season for them, all things considered.
So that'll be an interesting one if that all falls into place, and it is that roundabout as well.
I just want to double check if the next name I'm going to mention has actually happened yet.
I know, yeah. Just double check that these things haven't happened. Valverde looks like he's going to be leaving Barcelona. They've just been beaten in the Spanish Cup, so he looks like he'll be sacked.
So yeah, all the stories are Barcelona's sacked manager Ernesto Valverde today. So I don't know what time that would be. So he's going to get
replaced apparently by Roberto Martinez.
What do you think of this?
Listen, this is something that if you've watched Toffee TV for the last 4 years, me and Baz have said loads of times, that his management style did not suit us.
Yeah.
It does not suit the Premier League, but it would suit Barcelona, because he would be dropped in, the players would be bought for him, and his style would actually work, because he would have players, defensive players, that can play out the back. One of his biggest problem at Everton was he wanted players to play out from the back who simply couldn't. Yeah. And because of the high press nature of the Premier League,
just got punished.
It wouldn't work. I think it would work at Barcelona, but I also think that he would be keeping the hot seat hot, nice and warm for
the
Xavi.
Next big thing.
Well, it's Xavi.
Well, he's just signed, hasn't he?
He's just been given the manager's job at, is it Al-Hawi?
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
A club in
he was playing
Middle
for.
East.
The club he was playing for in Qatar.
Yeah.
So he's just become their manager. So within a year or possibly 2 years, he will be back at Barcelona. They see him as the next Pep.
As their Zidane.
They see him as the man who's got the intelligence to understand all of that.
Well, he was probably the most intelligent player I've ever seen. So.
Exactly. So so he's going to have a couple of years being where he is now.
Yeah. And
then he'll come back to Barcelona. So I can see Martinez easily going in there and having no problem. I could have seen Koeman going there. I really could, even though
I think Martinez is probably better suited.
Koeman would have wanted it and wouldn't have minded it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I could see Martinez being all right there.
Good stopgap.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But to be honest, Roberto Martinez is one of the nicest people in football. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met in football. I did say some nasty things about him, not personal.
Yeah, but it happens, doesn't it, when your club's
towards
in
the end,
a bad way.
I did think some of those decisions were just absolutely mental.
Yeah.
And he continued to make them.
Yeah.
But if he goes to Barcelona, he will be at the sharp end, and he won't. He's had a couple of years of managing top top players or coaching top players.
Yeah.
And essentially, if he was at Barcelona, that's what he'd be doing again. He'd have a hand in who he wanted, but that wouldn't be necessarily who he got. He'd be given players, and they'd be really good players. And listen, going from Aidan McGeady to Messi is not. It's not the step you think it is. You know, one comes on in a playoff final for Sunderland.
Well, does Messi have a skill move named after him in FIFA? No. There's a McGeady spin for a reason.
There you have it. I think he'll do all right. And it'll just be really interesting to see him. I really would.
No, I'd be excited to see him again. Has he been anywhere in this space of time?
Belgium.
Been at Belgium.
Been Belgium. Nice to see you keeping up with football.
Not international football. International football shit.
I mean, you know, that's okay. Well, that's where he's been, Belgium.
We have the best Belgian player in the world, so it's fine.
Who?
So I'm so happy because nobody else can see this.
I walked right into that.
You did.
I walked right into that. There you have it.
Good fun.
Good, that's it.
We'll hopefully see a lot more as, obviously next week it will be Champions League post Fallout.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you won't be here, I'm sure.
I will be here next week, of course I will be. I work here.
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens, I'll be here next week. I work here. What can I do? I can't ignore the fact that you might win the Champions League, can I? If you win it, then I will still be in work. It's my job. I'm not going to go hiding away. If anyone in this office has the respect that I show, they will just, you will all enjoy yourselves and just, that'll be it.
Well, I've never been mean to you, so it's
well, there
fine.
you go. And I've never been mean to you.
No, it's just Baz. That's why I'm here. Because Baz isn't here to goad me.
I fully expect to come in next week, and whatever's happened, I will come in and I will do my work, and then people will leave me alone.
Well, I promise to do that if best case scenario happens.
Which it probably will. There you go. Big thanks to Bailey. He'll be here every week. I don't know whether I'll be here every week. It might be Baz sometimes.
Maybe.
Keep it.
Maybe depending on, like I say, this week. We might be not see Baz for a while.
Not see Baz. Let us know if you enjoyed the video. Give us a thumbs up if you did, please. It's really important. Honestly, I can't stress it enough.
And tell us any links that you think might have legs that we can discuss.
Yeah. Get your links in as well. Who do you think? What have you seen? Anything? Most tedious transfer rumours, and we'll get them on and talk about them, because that's what we're here to do. Talk about transfers, because everyone loves them, but nobody knows.
Everybody hates waiting for them.
We've got all summer.
We have. Buckle in.
Thanks for watching. Give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Join us on Patreon for a lot more talk, like the footy show and all our live shows that we do as well on there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.